Welcome back to the MetaMinds podcast, where we help you master your mindset. My name's Eamon, and I'm a video marketer.
And my name's Dan, and I'm a fully qualified counsellor.
And today we have TradeMutt on the podcast, and it's a little bit different to our usual one. You'll notice that the episode's about an hour long, full of laughs, full of banter, but also full of deep conversations. And basically, they are a t-shirt company helping tradies with their mental health, and it's jam-packed full of value. Anything else?
Yeah, we had two guests. We had Ed and Dan. Such an interesting story. A lot about business, mindset, tradies, and yeah, just such a fun episode. Like, just kept going.
So you'll learn something, and you'll also have a laugh, and then you'll also want to buy one of these amazing t-shirts at the end. So jump into it and get better. Sweet. Thanks for joining us, boys.
Pleasure, mate.
Thanks for having us, fellas.
Yeah.
So we get lost on the way here, but we fucking found it.
Sorry,
I've been
Are we still in Queensland?
whatever. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. We're on a podcast the other day. I was just letting him fly, and then he gets to the end, and he's like, "No one swears on my podcast." I was like, "You've cooked that, Glenn. I fucking done it now."
So it wasn't even your podcast.
No, that was his. We're just hacking
He
away.
doesn't swear in his podcast. We swear in ours.
Yeah. It doesn't happen to be Glenn Azar.
Yeah,
Glenn Azar.
definitely.
Stop it. Oh
That's
my
amazing.
gosh.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We keep bumping into him, and he's been on our podcast as well. So.
Has he?
Yeah.
He's a dude, hey?
He's
Yeah.
a
Bloody legend.
Top dude.
He's an impressive human being, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's an
yeah, straight
operator.
up.
He's an operator.
Yeah.
He's great.
But yeah, I suppose to kick it off, like I first came into contact with your shirts in 2018 when I was at a music festival in Canada, right? Okay, and I do not know how my friend actually got the shirt. I still need to follow him up about it. But basically, yeah, he was like wearing this shirt, and it was like obviously the freshest shirt like in the club. And then, next minute we're at this festival like a week later, and he's wearing it again. I'm like, damn, like got to get me one of those. And then, just had no idea. I was like, yeah, for ages I just wanted one of those shirts. And then about 2 months ago, I think, I was like trawling on LinkedIn at the job that I was at doing like marketing for my boss at the time. And I came across the TradeMutt website, or one of you boys on LinkedIn, I'm pretty sure. I was like, oh, yeah, there's the shirts. It looks similar to the one that my friend has. So then jumped on, like bought one immediately, because I was like, obviously, like that's new. So I'm using it for festivals, I'm not a tradie, okay? But still be the freshest one on the dance floor, basically. And then basically you guys were crushing your LinkedIn game. It's like, damn, they got a podcast as well. Let's get them on the cast. So,
Yeah.
Mate,
That's the full circle.
Who was the mate in Canada?
so he is from Australia, but I still don't know where he got the shirt from. When I find out, I'll let you know.
What's his first name?
George.
Okay, righto. No, it's not.
Okay,
It doesn't
right.
mean anything immediately.
It's going to be like a moment.
I just
there
thought
where-
I've known people in Canada
right.
who have TradeMutt shirts, and I just
Yeah.
thought this would be really weird. If
Yeah,
there's
that would
some
be,
sort of
wouldn't it?
connection,
Because there can't be that many over there.
I was really hoping that there was a connection.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
I'm leaving.
Well, it's been great to have you on.
Thank you. Yeah, wow. That's full on. So do you guys offer shirts worldwide?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, COVID's put a fucking dent in all the postage stuff. But,
Right.
we do ship, worldwide. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. We've had one, where is it? Mount Everest Base Camp. We've had one in Alaska.
Wow.
We've had Casey Station, Antarctica.
Yeah, Antarctica.
Yeah.
There's only one.
Yeah,
There's
Alaska.
only one airplane down there.
Pogo Gold Mine in Alaska.
Alaska, yeah.
Around the States. They pop up, man. It's insane.
Oh,
Nice.
the there's the one in South America.
Global business.
Yeah, global business. Yeah, it's just an online e-commerce store. Boys going but
It's all about how you frame it.
yeah. No, it's cool. It's cool. It popped up everywhere.
Yeah, it blows my mind to think that people overseas find out about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it really does. Like the power of e-commerce and like digital, social media.
Yeah.
It's just insane. So, yeah, we're lucky.
Yeah, so to zoom out a bit, for those watching us just talk shit for like 3 minutes now, can you give a bit of a wrap up of like maybe 60 seconds kind of how you got to this point and kind of who you are?
So, quick backstory. So, basically, TradeMutt's a social enterprise by tradies for tradies designed to, make funky work shirts designed to act as a catalyst starting conversations about mental health. So, Ed and I, a couple of tradies, we met on a building site together, and we forged a pretty formidable relationship. And after losing one of my best mates to suicide in 2015, obviously very tragically and unexpectedly, it's kind of my first experience with suicide, and Ed and I both experienced it in quite a different way. Obviously, me as being one of the best mates, and Ed being a support network to me. But we had an idea about making some alternative workwear because we were sick of wearing the same shit to work, and we started to explore that idea. Met some people along the way, introduced us to the idea of social enterprise, it just made sense. It just kind of started to happen. We thought maybe we could use these shirts for good, take a bit more of a lighthearted and a chilled out sort of approach to the mental health space, which I think is probably much needed.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the start of it, to be honest. So yeah, come from the building site to having a crack at what some call tradie fashion. So
Yeah. And what was the initial kind of response when you did launch it into that space?
So, but before we launched it, try telling that idea to other tradies.
Yeah, well,
on the
exactly
site.
right. Yeah.
Fucking
Where they're like,
madness.
yeah, nah.
Right, good luck with your shirts, mate.
Yeah.
Mental health.
It's never going to happen, apparently.
But so yeah, we did that. We spent every last dollar we had on 2 computers and 1,500 shirts. And at the time that we did that, the worst possible outcome was that we were each going to have 750 shirts each to wear to work for the rest of our lives.
You'd want to
Which is
wash
solid,
for ages.
Yeah. Oh, you
That's
don't
kind
need to
of
wash them.
supply.
You just wear one and chuck it out.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, chuck it in the pile.
So yeah, going from that, we got a good bit of media exposure, which some crazy stories of how that even happened. But yeah, we got a bit of exposure. We sort of launched, and it just spread and started to grow. And yeah, we were off the tools. That was the 15th of March 2018, and we were off the tools by about June, I think, wasn't it?
Right.
And we were all in. So we thought, yeah, we can make a go of this. So yeah.
And what were the catalysts that got you guys to that point? Like, how did you build it from almost an idea to that point?
Well, I mean, we
Like, how does that happen?
it is. It's kind of weird. So obviously, we've had the idea about the work shirts. As I said, we met a few people along the way. Peter Ball, we met, who introduced us to the idea of social enterprise. We went through an incubator program at Impact Academy in Spring Hill. We met some other people through there who had some manufacturing contacts, which people don't share their manufacturing contacts. It's just not something that people do. But this particular fella did. Russ, who's involved with our charity and everything now. So we got some shirts made. You should see our first few samples. They're hilarious.
Yeah.
Still got them?
Yeah, we still got them. We're going to frame them. And put them up in the office.
Nice.
Like
That's the
ugly.
move.
Really? Like,
Really?
yeah, I mean, a lot of people think these are ugly, but like they're not, compared to this is like, it's like, dog
And was
shit.
that because you guys were doing it? Or like, what do you mean by ugly?
But well, we got our first samples.
They were just polka dots.
Yeah,
just polka dots, right?
Yeah, black polka dots on a yellow garment just to make sure that the fabric would not come out in the wash.
that was where our heads were at. We're like, is the dye going to run out of the shirts?
We just thought, they'll fuck us and they'll put shit dye on it and you'll wash it once and it'll all be like
Just
one
a gold,
colour.
just a yellow shirt, yeah.
In hindsight, we got incredibly lucky because to get those first 1,500 shirts into Australia, they were all relatively, good quality. The sizing was right. Like that doesn't really happen. Completely inexperienced.
doesn't happen.
No tech packs. Like
no size guide.
No set of plans for them to cut. So it was like we got lucky a little bit
Yeah.
there. But
Very.
yeah.
Miracle, really.
Yeah.
It's really impressive.
Yeah.
Like, have you guys... Because it seems like it also happened pretty quickly as well.
So
Very
quick.
Is this surreal? Like, do you still think about it a lot? Or like, how did all of this kind of...
We regularly have, like, Ed will always say to me, I've got a mate who's watching over us and who will just pull the right string at the right time and present the right opportunity for this business when it's supposed to happen. He'll let us stress for a little bit and think it's all going to fall over.
Yeah, it can't be easy.
He'll string us along and then all of a sudden, just like all these bullshit things that happen, you're like, that's just fucking no way that could happen. Like, our production manager is the weirdest, one of the weirdest. There's heaps of weird ones, but like how we met Corinne, who's our production manager, met a heap of people from QT and we're like, you guys are in the fashion game. Give us someone from the fashion game that we can use. And they're like, this bird, Corinne, she's the best. And we're like, okay. And then for some fuck knows reason, we never contacted her for like 3 or 4 weeks, right? Because we just had all this shit going on. We had a job site visit, went out and spoke to this builder and his team. We're there talking. Dan's there fucking spinning some bull yarn. And I was just talking to Sheila on the site.
As you do.
Anyway, and Corinne, she was like, introduced herself, and she's like interested in the shirts, and I was like, Dan and I are doing this, and like we need all this help. She's like, I used to do this sort of stuff, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, blah blah blah. Anyway, and then she gives me her card. Come back to the office. the QUT guys literally rocked up to our office an hour later to do this video of us with this bloody activation we're doing with QUT. And we're like, oh, we've just met this Sheila. I think she's going to be able to help us out. And they're like, oh, that's awesome. And they're like, did you ring that Kareen bird? And I'm like, what do you mean, Kareen? That's the bird I just met. And then I got the other card. It was the same card. I was like,
way.
what the fuck is
How
going on
happen?
here?
Yeah.
It was bullshit.
So your life's
Yeah.
a movie, basically.
Mate,
Yeah.
it was bullshit. Like,
That's insane.
nuts. Anyway, yeah, so Kareen's our production manager now, which is great. But yeah, just
And
that.
loving it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like,
right.
that's that one example. It's just like, far out. Yeah, shit happens all the
So,
time.
like, do you think there's maybe an elephant, an element of like manifesting in there? You know, like.
Yeah, I mean, I have a pretty strong belief that, you just put yourself out there, like, to a certain degree.
Like fully committed to this
fully
idea.
committed.
Yeah.
Right.
And
It's the secret, mate. Come on.
Yeah, yeah.
Haven't you read the book? Mate, you just believe that shit and it'll happen. You just
Yeah.
gotta you can't just believe it. You got to go out and try and make it happen.
Like,
and then
yeah.
it just if it doesn't happen straight away, it will. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's nuts.
You got to understand is like the thing is like for 18 months before, say, we launched, or even almost 2 years, we were working for 7 days a week in 3-month blocks at a time to save the cash to invest into this. You know what I mean? So we worked our fucking asses off. And like hard work. Like we were renovating
Shit
houses.
work.
The two of us were like renovating kitchens and bathrooms on Saturdays and Sundays while our mates were out getting up the gear or whatever. And so I can honestly say that we did do the hard
You put in the hard work,
It didn't just, it's not like it just came out of thin air. Like,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and we tested our relationship
To-
during
Wit's
those times.
Yeah.
Like, doing weekends like that on the tools and working 7 days a week together on top of each other. We tested each other then.
Yeah.
And I think I believe that set us up to, believe that
Work through the harder times now.
we could make this work.
Yeah.
Which has helped.
Definitely helpful having like a partner to kind of help with that. Actually, me and Dan pretty much have like fist fight after every podcast, but it makes our relationship stronger.
It's good. I think more people need to embrace that because, like I say, for us, like we've had heaps of blues, but we got good at arguing with each other. We practiced identifying each other's, signs or what pisses the other person off. Sometimes we exploit that for, just for fun.
Why not? Yeah.
But otherwise, it's you can learn.
You can learn
You
the
can
other
learn,
person.
and you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
practice, and you can realize when one of us is off. And we,
Yeah.
so like the more that you do that stuff, the better you get at it. That's how
Yeah.
you build strong relationships. I think.
Yeah,
So.
for sure.
Yeah.
And also, like, for you guys, have either of you had any other kind of creative endeavors prior to this point or any sort of business
ideas.
venture
Yeah,
or
we were
anything?
creating LinkedIn for tradies, but couldn't validate it.
Can validate
Well,
it.
carpentry's pretty creative,
Yeah,
Yeah, it is,
for
if
sure,
you,
yeah.
if you get to, I mean, I think I've always retained that eye for detail that's come from a building site. When you're anally retentive about finishing work, that everything's got to line up, and
Yeah.
like that. So I think there's an element of that transfers over. But yeah,
Has that come through with the shirts?
oh,
Your
I mean,
particular way?
Yeah.
but I think it comes through with the shirts with the reflective bit and the yellow part. That's the tradie heritage for us. Like this is just what someone else helped us get.
Yeah,
You know
for
what I
sure.
mean? That like, look at it.
It's amazing.
It's aggressive, isn't it?
Someone reckons this one looks like a
Bus seat.
bus seat.
You won't
Kinda
unsee
see
it.
that.
You won't unsee it. Yeah.
That our olive.
Yeah. Mate, bus seat. It's
Finally,
great.
why not? Let's crack it down.
Let's go.
Mate, it's a
Yeah,
cracker.
yeah, so like you sell shirts and that's awesome, but like there was obviously a really deep why there to begin with. Like, what kind of positive impact on the mental health in tradies like have you actually seen or felt like
Yeah.
in a journey?
Well, it's been like so many varying like points of contact. You know what I mean? Like compared to like mental health training and like all that other sort of stuff that's out there. Like we're sort of like just two blokes like telling stories and other people's stories through various platforms and channels. And that's just impacting other people to hear that and then make changes in their lives. It's fucking crazy because like the shirt in itself just allows people to show vulnerability and open up to someone else. And then that's just a flow-on effect.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, the worst part is like, we'd love to be able to measure it and say, we've like saved X amount of people and we've started this many conversations, but it's like, that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So it's like for us, it's just like being able to get an email or a phone call or a text or whatever through every week or, couple of days where it's like someone just going out of their way to email or tell us about an impact that's happened through our brand, that's more than enough to know that we're making a difference. Like,
The other thing is that people see, with all the social media and whatever else, people see, we celebrate our wins. That's great. We celebrate our new products and all that sort of stuff. But people don't see when someone turns up to the office, like just randomly in the middle of the day, who comes in, who they found our address and they like TradeMutt, they want to come get a shirt, and then they tell you a story about having lost, their only son to suicide, or someone else, a loved one, or someone they know, and like people don't see that side.
Yeah.
And that's fucking hard. But which is why I know that we don't do this stuff. It's not just a fun game. There's a real serious element to it, And to be able to impact people and have those conversations and open up that opportunity for just one person to come in and feel like they can talk to us about it, or anyone else wearing the shirt, like Ed says, like that's job done. So
yeah. But like the next big thing, obviously for us, is with our charity and like cranking it up. So like it's text and call service to psychologists for free. So basically that was just literally born out of Russ. Again, he came in. We're having a meeting. Over 2 years ago. We're probably a couple of months into starting TradeMutt, and Anthony Bourdain had died, and there's like fairly prominent mental health charity in Australia put a post up about it and saying, mental health doesn't discriminate and everything. And there was this young guy that commented on there. It was like a cry for help and was like, fuck, this is where I'm headed. And Russ saw it and messaged his kid and was like, shit, how can I help, blah, blah, blah. Just talking to him. And then he said, has anyone from that charity reached out, or have you reached out to that charity? And he was like, yeah, I've reached out. They haven't gotten back to me. And it's just like Russ was like, bullshit, like surely not, And then Russ reached out to him directly and was like, hey guys, I've got a mate's in trouble, what do I do? It's like, nothing. And we just sat there and we're just like, well, this is the whole problem. Like, fuck, people that finally are ready to open up and talk aren't being fucking heard. So we're like, jack of all of this. Let's start our own thing where people can access someone that's not just a counsellor or like a support volunteer. Let's get a professional person on the end of the line that when someone's ready to talk, they can talk to someone. So it's like the biggest, barriers to entry is finances and relationships, and people, talk about it all the time. Like men especially will have a breakdown through a relationship or a financial problem. And then for them to, make an uplift in their mental health, they're not going to invest in professional health care. They're just going to get on the piss or fucking go to vice like drugs and alcohol and everything like that to weather the storm, where it's like that's unhealthy. So we need to be able to cut through, give people access that they need. And so that's what TX has been able to do.
And like barriers, that's exactly the word for it. Because Dan's a counsellor as well. Like we have this conversation as well that it's like, especially for tradies, and guys as well, that it's like, admitting that it's like I have a mental health problem and I need to pay a professional to sit down with them or drill. It's like that is just that's a huge barrier. But if it's like I can just flick a text to someone and then all of a sudden 15 minutes later there's like a conversation has started and you're on a journey. It's like that whole barrier is just gone. So, and that's obviously the hugest element, which is obviously why you're doing it, I suppose.
Exactly, because it's sort of like, why make it so hard? Like it's 2020 for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So how can people access the service for people listening? So
TX, the website, www.tx.org, the support service line is 0488 469 88. At this stage, available from 9:30am till 5pm, Monday to Friday.
Right.
While we build capacity to be able to offer a 24/7 service.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we've just built on top. We've put a second story on top of the podcast and the breakout room at the warehouse, and we've got it cladded. We've just had it roughed in, had all the electrical done. So
we're all but there.
We've got sort of 5 psychologists,
like working in house.
Because that's what I was going to ask. How does that work?
We've got them in.
So they're all in-house.
Yeah, right. So Mark Almond, he's a CEO, so he comes from like a lived experience too of like severe depression. And we met him again. Fuck your mate.
Story.
Same thing. We're at this thing. We're in Sydney. Okay. Yeah. Here we go. So we're in Sydney, right? We had to come back from Sydney for this event, and it was like the pitch night at the end of this accelerator program we did in Spring Hill. It's like QUT again. Anyway, we'd already been on the piss on the plane, and then we got there. We got on the piss a bit more, and we were last, right? Like all these guys getting up there and pitching to all these potential investors and like telling the story or whatever. We just got up there and we're like, we don't need any of your money. Like, we're just here to tell you the story. And we just fucking had it out. Like, Dan had him on a shoestring. Like, it was hilarious. Anyway, this guy, Mark, he was in the audience, but he was only in the audience because his boss was supposed to go, and he's like, I can't go. Can you go for me? And Mark was like, yeah, whatever. He went, met him at the bar afterwards, and then that was it. Like, it was bullshit. And then, like, we met up with Mark, like, a heap of times. He was helping us get our charity off the ground. And then, again, got to a point where, like, shit, we need someone to run this. We rang Mark up. He's like, I just got made redundant. We're like, fucking beauty, you can run the charity. It was bullshit. Like, this stuff happens all the time.
Perfectly
Mate,
aligned,
I know. And,
just
like,
the energy flows
I know.
perfectly.
So Mark, so Mams
great.
we call him. His name's Mark Almond. Malman. Yeah, Mams. Anyway, so Mams is the CEO.
I'm trying to start the nickname Office Works because he's always going
Oh,
Office
Office
Works.
Works, yeah.
He always needs a new fucking stapler, mate. It's like,
How
many have you got?
So Mams, he's great. So he's been through it from literally the get-go. He helped us get it registered with ASIC and all the GST stuff that goes with it. And then he has been able to get it up off the ground. So we've got Nat, who was our first real psych that came on board, and starting to build it out from there. So we've got like up to 5 or 6 people at any one time that we can have on there. So it's so exciting. Yeah. So
and do you know how many people you'll need to make it a 24-hour service? How does that work logistically?
yeah.
it's on the demand at the moment, to be honest. So we're just trying to. The hard thing is like getting the brand out in front of people and creating that trust. And we're lucky because we've got TradeMutt and we've got such a large audience there. But it's also that thing of people going, am I in need of this? So that's what we're trying to educate people about. It's like, you don't need to be down to access it. Like,
we're really pushing it as like a, it's, where do people go when they're worried about a mate? Like,
it's not crisis support.
Who do they turn to? Like, if you're worried about a mate or a family member, loved one, whatever, and you're not sure how to help them, use TX. You can talk to a professional there. You can help, get guided in the right direction, things that you can do, because this is the reality of it is people who live with people who are suffering, from mental health issues or whatever. It's often their support networks that are the ones who are left to deal with a lot of that stress as well, and they don't know how to help.
Yeah, they're not counsellors or anything.
They're not, and they're not equipped to do it. But
and they wear the burden of it.
For me, the little secret is like, promote it as, a support line that you can find, get advice for anyone else that you need. But in doing so, you're actually bringing down the barriers for yourself using a service like that. Anyway, when you frame it about other people love to care about other people more than themselves.
Yeah, it's sort of like if you met a psychologist at a party and you're like, oh, I've got a mate who's going through this shit. Basically that same conversation, but just having it on a phone.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's just like, doesn't let it get any harder. Text or call us the conversation.
And also it's free, so there's another barrier
100%.
gone there.
The whole thing
always
was to
free.
remove the physical and financial barriers that exist, preventing anyone from accessing professional psychological support.
So how do you employ 5 psychologists?
So we've got,
Great question.
We still do.
Financially.
Next question, please. We actually, so there's a little bit of a backstory that gave us a good leg up for the charity side of things. So we had a fundraiser, what would you call him, like a unicorn bloody fundraiser up in Mount Isa.
An angel.
Yeah, an angel. And he was the second bloke ever to enter the Mount Isa Mines Rodeo Queen's Quest. Typically, it's for mostly just females do it, hence Queen's Quest. But Tonka decided that he wanted to be the queen of the ball, and he raised $108,000 or something like that.
$110,000.
Roughly $108,000 because he loved TradeMutt. He absolutely loved it. He wanted to do this Queen's Quest rodeo, thing. He wanted to wear TradeMutt the whole time. He's like, I want to raise you guys a heap of money for this, for your charity. The charity wasn't even established at that stage.
It was just an idea. And we're like, fuck.
But we were working towards it, and he was just helping. He wanted to do it. This guy, man, incredible. Never seen anything like it. He walked from the Northern Territory border
Camel to Mount Isa
wearing a wedding dress, and heels and shit. So he raised a chunk of cash that helped us get TX off the ground. So that's awesome.
That's amazing.
That was
That
incredible.
was nuts. Yeah. So that's that there, and it's just basically been through the donations that we make to the charity as well, and then just we're trying to get nail some corporate partners down as well. So Trade Tools have just come on board.
Nice.
So that's really
I
exciting.
saw your shirts in Trade Tools as well.
Yeah.
Actually.
So Trade Tools are gonna it could be great for us because they've got such a strong brand in Southeast Queensland. It's such a large amount of tradies that trust them, and for us to then be able to go, here, you can access this, get around it. It's really exciting. So the biggest thing is like, you know, bigger corporates have EAPs and stuff like that. It's like the smaller guys, you know, we come from a residential carpentry background. Like there's no sort of support. Like those businesses are flat out trying to keep the cash flow just coming in to keep literally to keep everyone fed and watered, right? Yeah. Whereas the big end of town, like they're able to invest in their staff more. It's like, well, fuck, jack to all of that. Like, let's invest for them. You know what I mean? Like we can give them access to this stuff for nothing. Just get around it, utilize it.
So Bunnings is next, or
Bunnings? Fuck.
Yeah, but
one day
we might be out there flipping snags. Raising money that way. But yeah, anyway, see how they go. Yeah, that'd be a good get. But you know, such a big company like that.
Yeah, it does seem like you guys. Obviously, we only have a snippet of you guys right now, but it does seem like you've got the future in mind. Like, you've kind of gone from a clothing brand to now like an organization that has, you know, a support center. Like,
well, it's weird because like we're a media company in a way, which is really weird. It's like which we never thought we would be, but that's literally what we are. Like we're a media company that has apparel. Right. We're not a workwear company that has a social media and a podcast. Like we're a media company. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's like we can influence more people through our social channels and through our podcast and through our TradeMutt Toolbox tools.
How did you realize that?
Yeah. Fuck, someone came into our office like, you guys are a media company? We did realise that we were making an impact through that.
Yeah.
It was like, we can continue to grow this part of the business. And
the shirts will always be the Trojan horse for the message. Like that's always going to be the cut through. But yeah, we're in a very unique position in the mental health space where we've grown an audience for an otherwise very difficult demographic to tap into with this topic.
Hard for people to follow.
And so
mental health stuff. So
we've kind of, it's almost
part of it.
It feels like it's kind of almost become a bit of a popular approach to the mental health. Like so many people have clung onto it. So now we've got a real responsibility to
keep it going,
to cherish that and nurture that, and you know we owe it to everyone who's supported us to not fuck that up. So,
but mental health too, it's been framed so poorly, like it's been marketed so poorly in a way that people don't want anything to fucking do with it because it just seems so foreign.
Yeah,
we're not educated around it, and like you guys know firsthand, like we've all got it, but people don't realise it. That's the biggest thing. Like people don't actually realise they've got mental health. Everyone thinks they've got to be depressed or have anxiety to have mental health, and that's the first mistake that we've all been bred into. And we're just trying to change that basically, just make it normal because it is normal. We all have shit days. Like I was just saying on the podcast before, I was like on Monday, what a fucking shit day. I don't know why. I said a really shitty day, you know. And I just mulled around. I was just like didn't feel myself, but like it's okay. Like I wasn't fucking depressed.
No.
But I wasn't having I wasn't mentally well that day, you know what I mean?
And if you had someone to chat about.
Like, I knew that, you know what I mean? Like I was able to understand that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that we do what we do because I was like, you know, this is okay. And like tomorrow morning I'll fucking get up and go to the gym and fucking hopefully things are going to change around. And things did. Like yesterday was great. Today's been awesome as well. It's just like being able to know it's not always going to be awesome and it's not always going to be low. It's like there's ebbs and flows.
Yeah, straight.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing. I literally rocked up today to Dan's house, and I'm very lucky because we have had we're each other's counselor kind of thing. I was like, I was just riddled with anxiety all of today, and I was like, well, what was it? Like, why? You know? And again, like we're very lucky, and this is why we started this podcast to have that self awareness, so we can be like, I think it's this, and this is how I can move forward and get away from that. But obviously, it's like not your average person doesn't have all of that self-awareness.
They don't have the tools.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I bang on a lot about emotional intelligence, right? And I think there's a huge gap in particularly men, but, you know, a large portion of, you know, society that just doesn't understand how to identify and articulate the emotions that they are feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even having the ability, same, I agree. I was writing my anxiety levels lately have been peaking a bit as well. Like there's just shit going on, you know? And that's okay, but I can identify what that feeling is. I recognise it in me, and I can also recognise reasons why. So it's that ability to actually even be able to put a name or describe the emotion that you're feeling and try to understand why that is, because, you know, if you can just go that little bit deeper, you can sort of start to recognise patterns, put things in place to prevent that, or, you know, be able to sort of manage yourself better when you do go down that track. I mean, obviously, there's the levels here, you know, like there's obviously significant mental illness.
We had a shit day, or you've been depressed for.
Exactly. Yeah, so there's definitely not like a glossing over the fact that, you know, there's a lot of people out there struggling with severe mental illnesses, but I think understanding oneself and tapping into a bit of emotional intelligence.
And so what are some ways that you would say are good ways to recognize that when that is happening for?
You mean for, like, say, for myself when I'm going through something, or for other people?
Well, I mean, yeah, both. Like, yeah.
I guess I guess for me particularly, I mean, I'm lucky enough to have always sort of been pretty open with my emotions. It's not something I've ever really bottled up. I don't know how you teach that to someone, but certainly having conversations like this, like just talking about the fact that, you can have anxiety today. Like, that's perfectly okay. There's shit going on in the world. Like, aside from our own personal lives, there's a massive feeling of unrest.
COVID?
Mate, COVID,
times like these.
You know what I mean? So, but talking about these kinds of things and, identifying these sorts of emotions and causes is the only way that sharing stories is the only way that people will be able to tap into those sorts of feelings themselves. Because it's just like, you have a podcast, you have a conversation like this, someone listens to it, you say something, it's like, oh shit, I kind of felt like that today as well. Is that what that is? Yeah, right, cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's sort of one thing I've noticed is like being able to remove yourself from the emotion and like look back at it. It sounds weird, but it's sort of like this afternoon, like I was fucking stressing hard because I was like, noticed this thing was going on. I was like, holy shit, where is this all at? And then just before the podcast, like, right, I've got to get my head clear here because I've got to get into this podcast now. But I just like removed myself sort of out of that situation, look back, and I was like, what's the worst thing that could happen here? Holy fuck, you know what I mean? Like, it's not actually that bad. We can sort it out in the morning. I'm just going to go down. You know what I mean? It's like I can just stop, refresh. And that's what I've noticed, like with stress and stuff with myself too. It's sort of like being able to just stop, because when you get yourself like stressed out or you've got lots going on, you just at a million miles an hour and you literally don't give yourself a second to think about what the small things need to be done to progress to where you need to. So your stress levels fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, once you can stop and figure that process out to get there, it's not that bad. But like if you're just trying to get to the end straight away, it's never going to happen.
Which your mind is always doing. It's
always
like,
doing.
But I just want the end thing, and it's like
just
just
want that
ignores
to happen.
everything in the middle.
Yeah,
and that's like the whole part.
The trick is the end thing is never enough either. You know what I mean?
Because you get there and you
get there and you're like, well,
now I've got to do the
right.
next one.
It's not like there's ever an end goal. It's like, right,
sure.
Yeah, you just get up, put your feet up on the couch, like, it's
Yeah,
been for the next 10 years for beauty.
Yeah. And if you sit with those emotions as well, like stress for a long time, the brain is just going to identify that as just a common state as
Manifests it, yeah.
So
it's
it
just
becomes,
like, this is it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And like, we're not our stress and our stress isn't us. It's like, it is just a byproduct of our environment most of the time.
Yeah.
And
Well, you see those people like in high corporate jobs that are just fucking 1,000 miles an hour all the time.
Exactly
like,
right. When do they have time off?
They don't know anything else.
You know?
It's like, that's it. It's
100% on all the
redlining
time.
the whole time.
Yeah.
And then fucking massive cardiac
Overclock.
arrest at 54. It's like, how did that happen? It's like, well, fuck.
Exactly.
No,
Right.
cocaine and
Little bit of
fucking
both.
working flat out.
Yeah.
It's like crazy. Yeah. So
Yeah.
being able to learn those things, like, I mean, that has given me so much value in my life just through this business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
And then there's other things like not just understanding your emotions, but some of the biggest factors that lead to a decline in mental health, like relationships, finances, vices, and just general wellness. You talk about nutritional, physical, mental wellness. Like, there are so many common causes that really lead to a decline in mental health for a lot of people that they don't address that they could.
Yes.
Financial anxiety is fucked.
Yeah.
Right?
And like tradies, I imagine, like a lot of them are sole traders running businesses, and they're just
So
good
bad.
at the thing they're good at doing, but all of a sudden they've got to run a business as well. And then that grows and scales, and it's like, shit, we need the wife on board to be doing this, and she's like, I don't know how to do this either. Like,
But it's like
How
not
do you
even
do it? Like, how do you
not
do a
even
fucking bass? You know what I mean? Like, people are just like, I got to start a business. It's like, yeah, okay, sweet. It's like, fuck, there's a lot involved.
yeah,
in that.
so much.
It's like, but you don't have to worry about that. Like, you just get someone who knows how to do it. Like, that's okay.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't
Try and man up.
Don't be
and do
trying
everything.
to do shit that you just.
Don't
Unless
overfunction.
it's starting a workwear company, but
No, I mean, as in, like, the most fortunate thing for us is that we've never tried to be good at something we're shit at. And I'm fucking so glad at that. Like, we've never been like, nah, grit our teeth and we'll make this happen. Like, we'll do it. It's just like, fuck, we're shit at doing that. You're good at that. Can you do that for us?
yeah.
That is,
I need to take that advice.
mate, don't bash your head against the wall trying to do something you're shit at. There's people out there
You
that are
can get
good at
someone,
it.
yeah,
Find someone you trust to do it. Get them to do it.
So
Then you can focus on shit that you're good at.
But we really promote that, like asking for help at all levels. Help.
So you're modeling it, which is great.
Asking for help at all levels. So
Yeah.
whether it's reaching out and talking to a psychologist or a counsellor or whoever it may be, to help try and, make sense of some of the, things swirling around your head, or reaching out to a numbers guy, a finance guy, someone who can, nutritionist, who can help you with, there's help out there for so many different, aspects, and we need it. We all do.
We choose not to do it. It was like an interesting thing was, Ben, who we just had on our podcast, was sitting down before we started, and he was saying his wife and he have just gone and seen a wealth manager. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I was like asking, how much is it going to cost? And he was telling me, I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, man, you could literally save that. And he's like, why would I try and save that when I know that it's, he's good at what he does? You know what I mean? He's like, I don't want to wear that stress. And I was like, fucking amen. I was like, you are dead right. Like, if you're happy to just sit there at night and know that everything's sorted, it's worth that money to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
100%. Everyone's so different. Like, there's no, and Dan says it all the time, it's like, there's not some playbook that everyone's like, yep, got to go through and tick these lists off. And then you get to the end of life and you're like, yep, fucking nailed it. It's just like, everyone's doing it completely differently, and that is cool. You know what I mean? Like, allow that to be okay. You don't have to pit yourself against your mate to be like, oh, he's doing it differently. Am I a failure, a success? It's like
your mind is driven to do that comparison, and we pretty much, it's like a common theme on the podcast. It comes up all the time. That's like, especially in the Instagram age, you're like, oh, that person's doing that thing, and like, when you came in, you're only allowed to compare yourself to 3 people because there's 3 people in your tribe.
The campfire, we just had this yarn. Stop it, really. We just had the campfire yarn, It's like storytelling, everything like that. But like Instagram, Facebook, it's all bullshit.
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
Who gives a shit anymore?
But unfortunately, that's the platform that helps us get these messages out.
I think
it's a tool.
It's like anything. It's your relationship, right? It's everything in moderation. Everything, whether it's whatever it is that is your vice, moderation is key. So it's the same as social media. Same with Instagram. I just had 5 days away camping and had my phone on airplane mode the whole time because
it feels good.
It was all just too much. Like, by the end of last week, it was too much for me. I was like, I'm fucking fizzling out here. Like,
it does burn you out. And it's what keeps your fucking brain going as well. It like stimulates you and you're just like, I'm cooked here. Like, this is horrible. Yeah. As soon as you can get less of it, the better.
One thing, man, it's like, wow. When you talk about mental health, it's so misunderstood. It's so deep. There's so many layers to it. You know what I mean? And it's just, we've learned so much, and
there's so much to learn.
It's just not depression and anxiety, which is what it's always been framed as.
It's fucking life. Fatherhood could be a topic. Finance, everything.
And people's idea of it is like
connections, belonging,
all of that.
100%. Yeah.
So like, when your idea of depression is something that's in a movie kind of thing, you're like, I definitely don't have that. But it's like that is like, it's a fairy tale version of what people think it is, but it's like,
everyone experiences it differently.
Everyone just keeps saying mental health. It's like, it's like, we can go deeper. You know what I mean?
There's so many things, like the movies, like, you're like, an alcoholic in a movie is like someone that's at the bar all day, but there's like fully functioning alcoholics that have fucking 9-to-5 jobs. No one knows they're an alcoholic. You know what I mean? Like,
possibly not even them.
That's what I mean. Like,
that was one of the biggest things as well with the charity as well. We've got, because we've done it all in-house, we now have the ability to control the image and the branding and the marketing and all that sort of stuff. Never will you see one of those fucking bus shelter ads of a depressed, sad-looking bloke in the corner of a dimly lit room personifying depression. It's like, that's not what it fucking looks like. And even if it did, and I thought I felt like that, I wouldn't want to identify as that guy. I'm never going to call that number.
Yeah, that sucks. I don't want that.
Yeah.
That's the extreme.
It is.
It's almost talking down to people as well. It's like, hey, your life sucks. Like, call us, and no one's going to... Yeah,
no one is that person.
Recognize that,
no one is that person.
Yeah, so, mate, it's a deep subject.
It really is.
But we've also, hilariously, it's funny, you start one thing, obviously there's a pretty, close, lived experience with suicide.
Yeah.
But, you start a thing and you learn on the fly. And in 2.5 years, we've learned a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
We still don't know what we're talking about. We don't pretend that we do. But we're learning, and I think that's the key. I think everyone is always learning, and that's all we can do, especially in the mental health space, is tell as many stories to and with each other as we can, because that is the only way that we'll ever find a way to relate and,
make a change.
Before starting TradeMutt, what was your relationship like with open communication and mental health? Like, was that a thing for you guys before starting
mental health? Fucking never even thought about it, but we were always open. Like Dan and I have always been super open, like with our relationship and as mateship, which has been fortunate, but without realising the importance of our communication with each other until sort of, you get down the line, you're like, fuck, thank God I had that, otherwise, what the fuck would have happened, you know what I mean?
I personally come from a family where there's been, from all my life, there's been, mental health issues among the family, so I've recognised it for a long time. For me, it's really weird. It's funny how I feel like I've been surrounded by this sort of stuff my whole life. Never would I have thought that swinging a hammer would have led me to being some sort of an advocate in the space. So
that's powerful, though.
Yeah, it is powerful, and it's cool, and it's how we know that we're doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing. Because it'd take a few podcasts to tell you all the stories that we've got, but like taking it back to how we even met each other. It's like, it's fucking stupid. It's seriously stupid. So, it's probably for another time because it's, it'll probably eat up, you'll be uploading this podcast for fucking ages.
Let's do like a 24-hour live or something.
Oh, there you go.
God, we've done that before.
Actually,
really?
Yeah, in a set of toilets in the middle of Queen Street Mall.
Wow.
Yeah, we locked ourselves in 2 toilets and were wrapped in one of our prints and up on the Today Show.
Well, then.
What was the biggest challenge of that? Doing
the 24 hours.
Yeah, like was there food there?
Getting the we had food.
I was
Dan got pissed on that night.
Well, no, because someone delivered us a 6-pack of beer, and he's gluten celiac. He's a glutton, and we've got had someone delivered some beers, and I had a couple of beers. I was probably getting a little bit pissy there towards the end. Probably not a great thing to do, really, given the cause and all that. But I was doing living the whole thing.
Yeah,
he was in the thing on his computer, and I think I was high. I think I was jacked on the adrenaline of like what we were doing. And
you definitely get into that.
Yeah. Rivet. Remember the rivet? You had that rivet.
Yeah, the rivet. Yeah, it's cool. But it was so hilarious because across from us in Queen Street Mall, right where we were, was so we had cameras on the inside, TVs on the outside, so everyone could see for the 24 hours.
Oh, right.
Not that there was anyone watching outside in the middle of the night, but
just while they're eating their Maccas.
There was a strip club like right opposite us. We didn't realise during the daytime because, of course, they're not open during the daytimes, so I've heard. But at night time, when everyone's sort of left, there's no one around, and this strip club's opened up, and they're kicking off, and there's these girls going, "What are you boys doing in those toilets?"
Bringing us over Red Bulls and stuff.
Swinging the Portaloo door open, they're bringing us Red Bulls, and we were just like, not that.
I loved it because I could just hide in there. It was great. Yeah, it was good.
Much like when he was on the tools, always hiding in the toilet.
Always
hiding from the emotions.
It's fucking great.
But that was the message. Exactly. That was the point of it. Right, that was the symbolism that we were trying to achieve with that little stunt. It was, representative of the industry that we've come from, where there are a lot of hard-headed blokes who are, hiding, their emotions away. And on a building site, the Portaloo is the one place you can go to seek a bit of refuge if it's not completely fucking destroyed, which they can be. That was the sort of the metaphor we were going for there. So, anyway, we did that. So, we've done a 24-hour thing. So,
well, then I'll just give up. Far out and went to the 25-hour.
25-hour.
But like back to the podcast, that's what I really love about that. Like, again, it was LinkedIn that I was kind of like all over, all your guys' stuff. And getting lost in the scroll on LinkedIn, like there's a lot of people that post content, but it's like none of it's really any good. And then every time I like scrolled across one from the podcast, it was like immediately jumping into someone's story and like maybe an analogy of how they like look at their own. And I was captivated like the whole time. My boss would walk out and be like, "Are you doing marketing or are you just watching podcasts? I'm like, bit of both. What do you want from me?" But yeah, like a lot of the content you just scroll through. But that it was always kind of stuck with me as the story element. And me being a filmmaker, like I'm all about that. So
that's awesome.
Our entire brand is about storytelling. That does mean a lot because that's what everything that we do, we want to connect a story to it, whether it's, every shirt design, every name behind the shirts, every single thing we do, the power of storytelling is, it's powerful. So cool. I'm glad that comes through.
Good stuff. Yeah. So I guess one last question, like, if somebody is potentially in your position 5 years ago, where they're thinking like, I don't know, maybe I could do something that's like, I could do something that maybe will make a difference one day, but I don't really know how to start or where to start. Like, what What advice would you give that person?
Fuck, just start doing something. Mate, hit me up on LinkedIn. I fucking love talking to people with business ideas. So yeah, hit me up on LinkedIn. But I mean, biggest thing is finding someone you can do it with. I was lucky with, like, we had each other. There's no way either of us could have done it on our own. Fucking no way. We could have done it, like, possibly with someone else, but fuck, it would not have worked the same.
Nah, there's no other scenario where this would have worked, I don't think. Possibly, not at all. My advice would be, understand the reasons why you're doing something. You need to really believe in what you're doing, I think.
Oh, shit, yeah.
It can't be something that you think is what you're supposed to do, or something that you think is going to make you money, or
that society's
because that is
family, or
that will never ever come off for you.
Yeah.
Like, it just won't. And if it does in the short term, something will happen and it'll come unstuck.
But you don't need to look for validation within your friendship circles and shit either. Like, if you fucking believe in it, go do it. Mm-hmm. Like, you'll earn more respect from people for fucking going and having a go rather than talking about it and never doing something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, fuck, what do you got to lose? Like, yeah, like, I got some mates that are starting a business, and like, talking about it the other day, it's like, if this fails, where will you be? And it's like, pretty much where I am right now. So what's the fucking downside?
Got him.
There's no downside. Yeah. Just do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
I think the other thing as well is understanding that, there's going to be a hell of a lot of roadblocks, because there were a shitload of roadblocks for us.
Yeah, it's not meant to be easy. That's
why.
No.
That's why not everyone does it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But like,
asking
it's
questions,
not.
like,
but also, it's
help.
not as hard as people would make it out to be as well, I would say.
Yeah, some people like the whole hustle porn and shit. Everyone's like, I work like 50 hours a day. It's like, you don't actually have to do
Mate,
that.
I saw this post on LinkedIn. Yeah. Fuck, it pissed me off. There was this guy, he was like, he's like, I wake up at 3 o'clock, do a fucking 45-minute like fit stop workout, then I'm at home, have breakfast, foreign exchange for an hour and a half, fucking go to work 9 hours, come home, foreign exchange until 1, and then sleep 2 hours, repeat. I was like, you are full of fucking shit to begin with.
Or you're
quickly.
on something.
Yeah. You are miserable. I was like, fuck that. I was like, if that is success, I don't want shit all to do with that. Yeah. I was like, unfollow. I was like, I'm not fucking seeing anyone that shit. You know what I mean? Like, that is,
and that's what you said about balance as well. Like, there's got to be balance. You can't just go extreme either end.
But it was like, he was like skiting, being like, this is what you need to do to succeed. I was like, fucking bullshit. Yeah. No one needs to do that.
That's why another thing we're talking about tonight is the people who never have an off day. Your Vaynerchucks, or
Kerwin Rays. Every day's the hustle. It's just like, bro, it's not every day. You've had a blue with the missus. You fucking shit the bed. Something's happened. For fuck's sake.
I shit the bed most nights.
Fucking sheets always going through. No, but you know what I mean.
Early to work.
But I think that's what. Like Glenn Azar, like when all this stuff went down with COVID, like Dan and I spoke about it, and then I was on the phone to Glenn Azar because I was like, mate, you've just done a podcast with us. Can you come and do a TradeMutt Toolbox talk? We've got this new idea. He was like, yeah. And I was telling him, I was like, all these fucking gurus and these fucking hustle porn people that are like, fucking get out there and live, they just disappeared. They just fucking disappeared for 3 weeks. They weren't saying anything. You know what I mean? Like, they just weren't. Because their narrative didn't work. Because it's not on all the fucking time, is it? You know? They were just like, there's no excuses. Fucking, go. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck. The whole world is stopping. Fuck, maybe it doesn't work all the time. You know what I mean? Like, they weren't there to tell people that it's okay. You know what I mean? Like, that's what pisses
But men
us
also
off.
wear that status of overworking. I think that's one of the bigger problems.
And it's a coping mechanism, and it allows them to fucking hide away from all their problems, so they don't have to speak to the missus because they come home like, I'm just fucked. I'm working so hard. They get the shits. They go and have an affair. Then he's like, you bitch, you fucking left me. It's like, mate, you're the problem. We've had so many of those podcasts. Mate, how many of those podcast guests have we had? How many have we had? 3.
Give us a number.
Be 3 blokes. Like 3 blokes that's literally happened with. It's like, worked his ass off. Even fucking ex-boss did it. Worked his ass off because he didn't want to cope with shit at home. And then to make her feel happy, but she didn't want the money. She wanted him. You know what I mean?
That was the whole point.
And it's just like, fuck. Blokes, mate.
Yeah.
Blokes, yeah.
Can't tell them anything.
We're a tricky breed.
We are a complex breed.
It's more complex than females. I truly believe, like, we like to be like, women. You know,
We're
they're so complicated.
We're so one-dimensional.
Really, they just fucking like shit organised, and they like to talk about.
They like the dishes. They like the dishes being done. But that was like that thing we were talking about the other day. I was like, fuck, mate, don't sit there and wait for your missus to do the dishes. Like, if you do the dishes, you are miles ahead. You're sorted. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, the mornings that I come home from the gym and do the washing, like the dishes before my wife wakes up. Fuck yeah, that's a great mate. I'm sorted. I'm sorted. Just little tip for young players out there. Didn't take me 2.5 years to sort that shit out, but once I did, yeah, mate.
That's a hidden gem. Eh?
Yeah, hidden gem. It'll keep him happy. I'm telling you.
Well, I'm sure we could talk for hours and hours.
Yeah, we could.
Podcasts don't even usually go for this long. We went double. So
sorry, boys.
No, it's been awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
Split it into parts. Part 1, part 2.
Parts and pieces.
I mean, we could just sit here and make 15, but if you want, like, do another 20.
We're open to that. Yeah.
Nah, it was good.
But yeah, thanks for coming on, boys. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate the time.
Everyone needs to go and buy a TradeMutt t-shirt.
Jump
not
on.
the one that looks like
I
a bus
need to
seat,
get one.
obviously.
Yeah,
Dan needs to get one.
We've still got some
Been
bus seats
grilling
there.
about it, so.
We're just in
Yeah, he's
pre-sale
got
now,
3 new
releasing
lines,
some. We just released 3 new shirts, and we've got
collection.
heaps of cool stuff coming for Christmas too. So TradeMutt.com, check it out.
Sweet. Thank you.
Champion. Thanks, boys.
Cheers, guys.